Like I said, I'm really interested to see the way that they play this rotation out. Axios is going to be starting on defense, so they're going to get ban number 1. Like I said, I'm expecting a lot of teams to ban out a Gridlock, a Nomad, a Capitao. That's probably going to be number 1. Um, but who knows what they're going to go with here? They're going to take a Buck actually out, and okay, I mean, Buck is wonderful for what he does, which is the soft destructive aspect of this map. And there's so much soft destruction here. Queen immediately saying it was a target ban against Slaughterhouse. So these are things where, I mean, as teams start to get more experienced playing each other, and we're only 2 games into this season, you're going to start to see these kind of target bans emerge.
I completely agree with you. Jackal going to follow that up, and Jackal's not something we see banned out too often inside of competitive because it's a lot easier to deal with comparative to your ranked games where, you get tracked, you're off on roam, you really don't have any utility, there's no reinforcements to set up for you to fall back or really any massive team play there in order to help you. So him being removed, Mira, and then Smoke being removed, which is something we don't see too often.
Yeah. A Smoke is really curious here.
I mean, he's very powerful.
I mean, you look at these 2 bands that come out from Axios. You've got a Buck and a Smoke on the board. These are abnormal, I would say. Buck isn't necessarily that abnormal. Smoke was commonplace when we saw teams play Oregon, and that was to enable a very specific style of play when you were attacking Oregon and you knew you could do it without a Smoke on the board. Smoke isn't necessarily an operator that is a heavy staple on Coastline. You can get away without one. So I am interested at what their reasoning was behind that. It's also going to enable Echo to be played, which is going to be immediately 6-picked onto by Ancient One. So there's going to be power in plant denial here, even if Smoke is off the board. And keep in mind, Axios playing the Echo right away, they're the ones who took Smoke out of the equation.
Yeah, there's definitely something in the cards with that one right there, 100%. Smoke, especially on this site, you see him get played on couch quite often. That's where he's played about 95% of the time because his smoke grenades will actually go through that wall and prevent default plan, which is right beside the A-bomb chassis towards the aquarium door where Bandit's currently sitting at that usual spot. But as we saw, Smoke being removed, so Echo Maestro getting picked up, which this duo of Anchor is very difficult to deal with. IQ is going to have a lot on her plate. They do have the Thatcher being played as well, which will help out with those Evil Eyes, but other than that, it's going to be explosives to try and help out with those.
Yeah. You got some interesting utility here, and I hate that I keep rolling that word out for Slaughterhouse, but we don't always see hard breachers on Coastline. I feel like it's a distinction that we always have to make whenever we're casting it, in the sense that, you've got 7 maps in the map pool right now, 6 of them which require at least 1, most of the time 2. Coastline is the redheaded stepchild of that. You can get away very easily without running a hard breacher. In this case, you're going to put a Hibana on the board. That's okay. Hibana's versatility is going to, be very well suited to all 3 of the sites that usually get played. And if we do see a Penthouse Theater, that's going to come out as well. So you've got disruptive tools here in the hands of your Zofia and your Capitao. You've got the hard breach aspect along with the tag team that comes with Thatcher. So there's opportunities to be able to employ those strategies, as I said, and not necessarily just go for full fragging potential.
I think the main thing that stands out for me on this offense right now is actually really the quick take that they're having through VIP. There's really no information gain for the defense over here. No yokais that we saw rotated over there at all. And they also have IQ to handle any of those anyways. But for the defense, it's more of a downstairs site hold. For them, we actually have Castle as well as Jaeger in tandem downstairs, but it's going to be Assault Queen upstairs to pop things off. Again, no information over here just yet in the way that they took this over from the bathroom hatch. No default cams in there to be shot out either. So there's really no telltale signs for the defense to grasp onto in order to know that this was coming.
Well, this is a good play here from Lamp, and I don't know if she's been droned out just yet. Obviously, with the ACOG in that position, being able to see the debris flying, you know that somebody's going to be in there. There goes Bazinga. So your 2 offsite players eliminated. A refrag from Lupa, that's the UMP, but a pre-fire from Assault. Beautiful shot, just knowing the positioning. It's very instinctive to be able to get that one. But it's very quick action here. As you can see, that Slaughterhouse is literally knocking on the door. The Echo's able to gun one down as Ancient One finds a kill for Axios. And now it's all up to the anchors. Really, a minute left to go here. You've got coverage on both sites. Axios can possibly ride this storm out. But the big question mark for me is what is Bailey going to do with those Capitao fire arrows? Because you've got such potential to just choke the site out with both of those smokes and both those asphyxiating bolts, depending on if Bailey's used them yet and where she's going to place them.
Well, the truly difficult thing is now is they have the castle barricades, and someone's got to have breaching charges, or they're going to have to try and punch them down. So this is going to be a massive time waste. Ancient's waiting as he's trying to tag onto the feet of the offense right now. They're finally going to get that castle barricade open. Needs a crouch bounce here. Thatcher lying in the weights here. Ancient going to peek out. What a nice shot. Has one more to worry about. Capitao's also going to fall. All of a sudden, it's up to Assault Queen. Knocks it down to a 1 versus 1. Lamp all alone now. Has plenty to pre-fire as well. It's the ult, a very dangerous weapon. Queen trying to bait back and forth. Going to motion in, but she gets stuck on the drone hole. And it's going to be Lamp with the first strike for Axios.
It's unfortunate when you see that kind of thing happen, but I mean, if you're a player who's played this game, how many times have you gotten stuck on a rotate hole all because of one stud on the bottom? Especially that room. Can we talk about how much of a problem that room is when it comes to the baseboards at the very bottom?
My God. They're haunting.
It's the hardest material on earth. I firmly believe it's almost as hard as Rook's feet when he's lying prone and you're trying to kill him. Those are the two hardest pieces of material on earth. But no, I really want to give some commendation to Slaughterhouse for their roam clear. They were able to dispatch both Canadian and then Bazinga within very short order. And it came down to Assault Queen sitting right now with every single kill. Couldn't get the Maestro at the end, but showed up big time and was the main spearhead of that entire strategy. You clear from VIP on over, you dislodge anybody who are playing on the second side of that second floor. And then you have Bazinga down below, who eventually at some point gets caught out because you realize there's a minute and a half left in the round. You've held your map control. You don't really need to worry too much. What that did was allow Assault Queen to go down below after she got her frags and start doing utility work with IQ to assist the rest of her team. Because it was a 3v2 in favor of Slaughterhouse, you essentially put into a 2v2 that's very winnable for Slaughterhouse and a good usage of what IQ can bring to the table with that gadget. Unfortunately, they ran into the castle barricade and gave their position away because they didn't have any soft destruction. Sky had died earlier. They didn't have a Haban on the board either because she had died as well with Tarragon, who's now on the Montaigne. So no hard breach at all being brought from Slaughterhouse. But ultimately, that castle barricade was a huge portion, if not one of the biggest reasons why they won that, because there was hesitation, they didn't have intel work, and Ancient One cleaned up with the 2 kills through the barricade in the final 20 seconds.
Oh, we're going to actually have a pretty interesting take here. This is something that you don't see too often, especially on this side anymore. We're going to have the Monty push onto the delivery door, and Terra's already planning backwards. Are they paying attention? He's got to shoot his feet, but it's not going to be enough. Only 1 second. Have to stop it with the yokai, but no, the plant's going to go off. Rotates out overheat of the Evil Eye as well, and all of a sudden it's all men on deck to try and get outside. A quick throw, but it's going to be Assault Queen once again with 2 quick kills. She's had every single kill so far in this matchup.
Impressive performance that she's had so far, and it's very tricky for anything to happen now from Axios. I mean, you've got a Montaigne on the board, you're going to utilize him in the best way possible, and you're hard-pressed to find a better usage than positioning him at the door. Even just having him stand as that mountain, just watching, you've got such a great position here for Slaughterhouse, and it's a lockout, almost a flawless round. A little bit of sportsmanlike conduct from the ladies here, just getting in on the fun. And well, they didn't get the very first round, but they make up for it with a very quick push. Went down to the wire round number 1. We've seen a couple sites in all 7 maps in Rainbow Six where you can do what just happened, which is smoke off, push in main door, get a plant down, get out of there. And the thing is that if you can get it done as quickly as we saw from Slaughterhouse, the defense could still actually be doing setup work. When you defend kitchen, it's not uncommon to have somebody playing over on Cool Vibe stairs. It's not uncommon to have somebody maybe playing up in VIP if they are well situated with ADSs, Frost Mats, Legion Mines, a Maestro Cam, Valk Cams, whatever utility you want to bring. It honestly looks like Slaughterhouse, at whether they read into it or not, came into this saying it's going to be a very default plant, service door, go in, smoke them off, get Monty in, and hope that the yokai drone is in a good position. Played very, very effectively. And it's kind of funny because Axios was the team that banned smoke, and a smoke would have been crucial to stop that there. You put smoke over by pantry, over by the bomb, one toxic canister completely unravels that push that we saw from Slaughterhouse. Axios' own ban actively played against them, and I'm sure that they knew that they could play without a smoke, But man, how convenient it would have been to have one for what Slaughterhouse just did to them.
I think the main thing, especially for the defensive play on that, is that Ancient was not ready with those yokai drones inside of delivery. They threw some EMPs in to try and handle that situation, but there was no yokai drones home in order to stop Monty from planting. Just because his shield is on his back does not mean that you can't stop him with a yokai drone, and they just didn't have any there. They tried to laser him down, but a full burst from one of those evil eyes only does about 50 damage to anyone, so because it's flat damage. But they're going to go for the same thing once again. 2 roamers upstairs, but this time might be a little bit more aggressive. This time we do have the yokai drone placed properly in order to stop a door plant. So it looks like Slaughterhouse is going to have to try and find other pastures.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to change course at this point, right? You go back down to kitchen. Okay, you don't need to roll the die on the double bar. This is pretty standard. And as you said, you see a lot of teams that are going to go up to hookah, and then if kitchen doesn't work twice, you're going to go back up to hookah. That's your default rotation. And it's, you know, it's not surprising to see that brought out here. I like the change on the hard breach because even if it's double bars, thermite works really well here. If it's penthouse, thermite works really well. You've got a hard breacher that is going to pair against the defender setup no matter what. You could have brought a Hibana. I mean, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, but I think thermite is a better fit here. Whether you want to argue about his guns or not, okay, cool. But you need to secure lobby if you want thermite to be effective. And that's the issue that Slaughterhouse are going to have. Right now, there's 2 bodies from Axios upstairs roaming, both the Jaeger and the Legion. So if you can't find Bazinga and Lupa, then you're going to have to be very wary of that lobby control because both of them can come back and find you, whether it be main stairs or whether it be through the courtyard.
Well, Slaughterhouse still trying to find their way right now. Really haven't went for a roam clear just yet. We have obviously seen the 2 members of Axios still upstairs. They've actually rotated now down to blue bar. A quick impact in through the blue wall. Excuse me, courtyard wall will get them inside. Bazinga, first strike here in round 3 as Terra will fall. That's going to be the thermite. Very large pick if they wanted to go for that push that Parker was talking about earlier. But quick moves now as Pyro will be holding the angle. The timer continues to tick on. Just need to slow things down a bit for Axios.
I mean, you don't have lobby control just yet. I don't know if they're aware that Bazinga lies in wait in security. You have to go back onto drones, but you don't have a ton of time here. You've also lost your hard breacher, so lobby control nowhere near as important as it was. Assault Queen's advance spotted on a cam, 40 seconds left. Oh, no. Drone sails by Bazinga, who's still waiting, finally gets droned out and knows the jig is up and gets the kill, capitalizing very well. Able to gun down Assault Queen, who's been the hard carry for Slaughterhouse through 2 rounds. You've lost 2 very important parts of your team, and you've still got Bazinga on roam, who finds a second tally now onto Sky, hunted down by Pyra. See if the Thatcher can catch the Jaeger off guard. There's a ping, but not quite quick enough. Eventually gets it, though, through the wall. Still has a lot of work to do, and you've got to hustle. 10 seconds left. The clock is not your ally at this point. Bailey and Pyra just waiting, finding another kill. 3 on the board, but it's Ancient One yet again in the dying seconds. Pyra's in a 1v1, but the clock will strike 0, and it's another round for Axios. Ancient One has proven herself to be extraordinarily good in the dying seconds, and even though she does get dispatched, it's still just a matter of time for Axios to take the round.
Axios' patience is something that I want to highlight, especially on this map. They did end up losing a roamer pretty early on, the likes of Lupa, who rotated off as that Legion. But Bazinga able to come up in the clutch, especially with that drone play. Not shooting the drone, nice trigger discipline, rotates out. As you said, the jig was up. She needed to get out of there, either run towards office or try and go for the frag. She chose the latter, and it worked out for her. Got a triple kill on the round. That was definitely the exclamation point that they needed to make a stand there. Now for Slaughterhouse, roam clear, not too good right now. They just more or less stood outside and just waited for them to come to them. There was no aquarium balcony, no one trying to get a drone upstairs to see exactly what was going on. It was just everyone standing outside with their head in their hands going, okay, so they have kitchen and we kind of need that room. What are we going to do about that? So I'd like to see them get their drone play a little bit up in the air, or a little bit further into the map, whether it be upstairs or what have you. To see if this will possibly be a rehost. We are going to have one disconnected. I don't know exactly what CCS's rules are behind that for disconnections at this point, but we'll have the admins handle it nonetheless.
It's Assault Queen as well, who we bid adieu to in this round, which is a pretty crummy blow given how good she's been through these 3 rounds. Obviously playing on the entry role here. I would imagine likely doing duo entry work alongside Sky, but Sky's been bringing a bit more utility in the Zofia.
All right. Well, looks like we are going to have a rehost here at Parker, so we're going to get to delve into things a little bit more. I really like how they've been bringing this castle for the hookah site as well. Pretty interesting pick, something we don't see too often, especially because, well, a lot of teams play a crap load of soft destruction on this map, so castles are not going to last very, very long. But as we saw the last time that they were on this site, it worked out extremely handedly for them because there was only one person that had softest roll, two, technically speaking, due to IQ having breaching charges. But Zofia got picked off extremely early, and Frag Queen was not there in order to assist with the doors.
Yeah, and the other question remains, is Pyra bringing breaching charges? Is Assault Queen bringing breaching charges? Because you can bring them on both the Thatcher and the IQ. That's been run quite a bit. I mean, you can bring them on the Zofia as well. You're putting a lot of breaching in the hands of Zofia in that case. You've got 5 opportunities to knock down on soft destruction, be they castle barricades, etc. I like this, frankly, from Axios. They know that the castle barricades work. They would almost single-handedly won them that very first round on hookah. I honestly believe that if that castle barricade isn't there, if it gets taken care of early, then that round goes to Slaughterhouse, because you've got 2 people from Slaughterhouse coming through one door with an Echo watching. The MP5 suppressed. Sure, yeah, it's a headshot machine, but you got a Capital and you got a Thatcher there. They could have very easily knocked down Ancient One and just kept going. So I like the strategy. It's unfortunate for Axios that there's likely intel on what's happening, because when there is a rehost, you do usually see what's going on prior to the rehost, and then most rules that govern these this game say, okay, well, you have to run the same thing, and that there's going to be a castle set up. You have to bring the same stuff. So if you're not bringing breaching charges, then, well, you're going to be at a disadvantage. You can't really change it, but you will know where they are and know how to tackle them faster. So you're going to save some time on that drone phase. So Slaughterhouse isn't going to have to necessarily do as much homework in the in the first 30, 45, 50, even a minute of this matchup when we go back in on round number 4.
You just have to recognize what they're bringing for operators, obviously, if they didn't get all of them. But Castle's pretty easy to spot. He's the man putting up all of the door frames that you can't possibly shoot through. So putting those up makes things obviously pretty easy to spot. But for their defense on Hookah, I think that the main thing right now is that I really, really feel like they just need to play it horizontally. Their downstairs defense, their downstairs roam, excuse me, can be counted out pretty easily just in operator lineup. I mean, they bring a Nomad, they bring a Gridlock. It's pretty easy to just lock down the staircases and not allow anyone to move. You really just have to worry about main. That's your main focal point for rotation, unless they want to try and come up cool vibes, but obviously that's on site. You practically have to have sight in order to get an air jab or tracks down on that staircase. So, but you'd much rather have them go back to site than completely flank in behind you with no info on them.
I mean, Axios at the start banned Buck, and the comment that came in chat from Slaughterhouse was, that's a target ban. All right, so who do you run? Okay, well, you're running right now Zofia as your sole soft destructor, but you can add a sledge to that mix quite effectively. Jackal can take part in that. Obviously, he's banned, so you can't use him. You've got Gridlock available as well. She's unbanned. Like I said, you can run breaches on IQ. You can run breaches on Thatcher. But what I'd rather see at a Slaughterhouse is just simply, the defensive setup that I'm witnessing from Axios doesn't require hard destruction. It requires more soft destruction. If you're going to bring a Hibana, fine, because you can use those 3x Kairos bursts as glorified soft destruction, but you don't need the Thatcher. You've got the IQ. And I get that you're using Assault Queen as your main entry, or at least that's the role that whether she's designed to play that role in the team structure or not, it's what she's been playing. You don't really need the Thatcher. You could bring a Twitch with breaching. You could bring a sledge, bring frag grenades to the mix as well. Yeah, Bazinga's been running Jaeger all 3 rounds. You can clear those out with Zofia pretty quickly. And of course, Capital isn't affected by the ADS either. So drop the Thermite or drop the Hibana, drop the Thatcher. You don't really need a Thatcher on Coastline, especially from what we're seeing out of Axios' defense. And bring in a Gridlock, bring in a Sledge, bring in a Dokkaebi right now, who has the ability to be annoying and can bring smokes or can bring frags herself. These are changes that Slaughterhouse probably won't be making this matchup, but it's something that they can look at for Coastline in the future, because the way that Axios is defending is very soft breach heavy, but you don't really need a lot of hard destruction on Coastline to begin with, and I think you could get away without it here against Axios as well.
Yeah, and this is the main point that we've been attempting to drive home for a lot of the women's league is that this is just very very young comp, guys. So you're not going to see
Yeah,
a
absolutely.
lot of mind games. You're not going to see anything like that. It's going to be a lot of, hey, we have our one lineup, we like this lineup, it works, and we're just going to run that over and over again. Funny enough, it kind of does rival that Empire style of play, which is, hey, we run this one thing, and if it doesn't work, we're just going to do it again. And for a lot of these teams, it has worked out pretty handily. We're actually going to see the exact same lineup. Pyra's still going to be on the Thatcher. Thatcher, still an amazing operator. His utility is definitely worth its weight in gold as to what it can do. I mean, especially with the radius, you're able to knock down Echoes, open up Maestros, get rid of Jaeger ADSs. It does literally everything, and you don't have to throw it in the room. You throw it up against the wall, it knocks down everything in its radius or destroys it, and all of a sudden you have free real estate in order to move through without any information gain or anything along those lines. But as Parker was saying earlier, they could definitely do with some more soft destruction, especially since Lupa keeps bringing this castle.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to need lots of soft destruction no matter what, and that's what I said. This is a map that you can substitute that hard destruction for soft destruction. I'd be very interested to see if either Assault Queen or Pyra are running breaches.
Assault Queen is. She's running breaches on IQ.
So that's good. So I'm assuming Pyra's got the Claymore, likely flashes on Bailey, and probably breaches on Sky as well. Oh, Claymore on Capitao. So they've doubled up on the Claymores, and then Sky is a Claymore too. So
Triple.
Sky, you don't. I mean, I don't want to say you don't need 3 Claymores on Coastline, because against certain teams, you absolutely do, which is why you do see Nomad and Gridlock have such a high degree of play on this map. But I mean, their gadgets are used differently than Claymores, especially air jabs. So you could sub out Sky's Claymore for breaches pretty quickly. But I mean, that's just small. That's small. Like I said, Assault's got breaches, but she's not really in a position to use them with the way that she's been playing. So we'll get into round number 4, though. It's going to be another hookah defense. Same thing that we saw before with this castle setup. I would imagine very similar to round number 1. And then when you bring out the Echo as well, you know the way that it's going to get played, and you're really going to rely on Assault Queen here to be able to find those yokais. Can be very easy. The only change from the very first round is that you've got a Monty instead of a Hibana.
Yeah, different roam setup here for the defense as well. They're going to be roaming upstairs inside of VIP as well as theater. Oh, a quick shot from upstairs. Assault Queen
This
saw
is
it.
such a greasy angle.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
my.
so good though.
I'm gonna have to go wash my hands after watching this.
Haven't seen it inside of a competitive play just yet, actually. So that's a first, and that's going to be a massive pick as well. That's the IQ down, the woman we've been praising so very much throughout this matchup. I believe at this point she's at, I want to say 9 kills through 3 rounds, which is quite impressive in and of itself. But this is going to allow the roam game of Axios to rotate downstairs and really thwart everything coming from Sunrise. And this is where things are going to start getting very, very dangerous. Lupa line in the sprays, going to find one. Does she win it out? Yes. The 45 of Castle, a lot of pros talking about how it seems to lose a lot more gunfights and pulses. They think it's balanced differently, but it's not going to happen this time. Bazinka's still waiting as well, just trying to assist, playing for the refrag just in case. Needs to play a little bit closer, but a Nitro Cell upstairs, as we're talking about what's going on downstairs, will sail through the air, takes down Terra, and that's going to be the Monty.
Not exactly sure here if Slaughterhouse are droning very much, but they don't really seem to have any clue as to where Axios is playing at the moment. We just saw a drone get shot, so clearly there's been some intel on the board for them, but they haven't obviously digested it as well as they need to. This was a standard default plant going out from the Monty, likely planted backwards. Canadian hucks up the C4. That's it. You don't really have any recourse there unless there's somebody nearby to shoot it. Your planter is effectively dead. There's a lot of great hesitation, though, from Pyra and Sky, at least at the moment, and they've got 30 seconds to go and an entire angry team of Axios. It's very hard-pressed to see how they're going to be able to overcome this, especially since they're decently utility starved. It's Sky who's going to be the big one when it comes to actual utility, but there's a yokai on the board. There's a Maestro still on the board. You've got so much information and possible plant denial, and Pyra's 1 HP. It doesn't matter what happens next. Down goes Sky, and you're 1 kill away from a flawless round. Yokai comes on in, and coordination onto Canadian, playing on those cool vibe stairs. Celebratory bob up and down, and it's yet another for Axios, and indeed flawless. So even though you had the extra information that came out from the droning that was present from Slaughterhouse prior to the rehost, it really didn't matter all that much. Slaughterhouse just went for a straight hookah push while splitting some bodies downstairs into Sunrise, and they lost on both fronts.
Slaughterhouse is completely ignoring map pressure altogether from every single angle, and it's just not really working out from them. They're trying to go for the immediate door push. They did it on delivery downstairs for kitchen as well as hookah upstairs. They just try and go for the backwards Monty push. And if it doesn't work out, well, all of a sudden your diffuser's in sight, and it's a big power position for the defense. If they continue to do that, I really don't see them winning any more offensive rounds. They're going to drop the Monty this time. Instead, they're going to allocate it over to a thermite, try and bring a little bit more soft destruction this time. No, we're actually going to have the exact same light up minus the Monty. So they're going to go back to what they were playing in round 3 instead of round 4.
Interesting here. I like the double bars play from Axios, right? They have to go here because they've won the last 2. You're not going to go to penthouse. I mean, I guess you could go to penthouse, but you're not going to. And the fact that Axios has been favoring a castle in most of their setups, double bars is a site that we see so many teams run a castle on. His barricades are very good with the limited narrow doorways that are available on this site. And there's a lot of remodeling you can do. You know, we see the rotate hole right now on the right side of your screen on the quadruple panel that leads into courtyard. Then you can castle off office door, which is exactly what Axios did. You can castle off the mudroom as well and double reinforce that and play aggressively from above. There's run out potential from hookah additionally. So there's opportunities here for the defense to play on double bars. And like I said, I think it's right now the most interesting site because it has the least settled meta of Coastline.
All right, just had to get some adjustments in there, but we're good now. The Salt Queen back on the board as we have just started off on round 5. Bazinga doing a pretty good job out of roam games so far, as well as just the info gain from the offense has been kind of lackluster, as we're talking about. We didn't see too many people on drones, and those immediate takes directly onto site have not been working out because of that. They really don't know where the placement of ops are inside of the actual building, and it's very, very punishing. We're going to see a little bit more roam game this, or excuse me, a little bit more drone game this time around, which could definitely assist them, especially if we see Assault pop off as she had been doing before. Does have to worry about just a couple. Does have one line in the strings as well. It's going to be Thermite over inside of Hookah. Oh, this might be very dangerous. Getting the hatch. Assault's going to take some damage, but immediately going to switch over, and Bazinga's going to get traded out equally here. So it's actually going to be Bazinga down as well as Lupa for both teams respectively. A nice shot as Skies will take down Lupa as well. But actually, no, it's going to be Assault Queen from over inside of VIP. So current man advantage in the favor of the offense. Defense playing the double bar downstairs, which, as we were talking about earlier, a very interesting site. Multiple ways to hold it. A lot of teams, just as a default, allocating for that verticality, but that's quickly going to be removed from the offense.
You can see how much Assault Queen going off of the board early in the last round affected the rest of Slaughterhouse. And I don't know if it just came down to maybe that's the way the whole round would have played out if she wasn't killed early, but she's making her presence known, and she and Sky proving that that entry duo, as I speculated, it is Sky that's working in tandem with Assault Queen here to be able to flush them out. And this is great intel that you just saw from Slaughterhouse. They've got the Echo under watch, know that he's playing likely with an ADS next to him, but Ancient One is going to be in tough position now. Fighting back, though, takes out Terra. You also see that the Maestro above in great position to take out Assault Queen. And immediately, the pendulum is swung the other way. Axios in a position where they could hold this one out, but you don't have the Bearing 9 in hand. You have the pistol. Okay, Pyra inside has control. With Diffuser can go for a successful plan. It's all on the shoulders of Lamp and Canasian. The Maestro with the Alda, a very formidable weapon. All the while, Sky just covers Pyra as the Diffuse goes down successfully, but a rotate from Canasian, beheaded from Sky, trying to control the LMG. It's one kill. Can she find it? Yes, Sky can. Down goes Lamp, and Slaughterhouse gets a much-needed round to try and keep it close between them and Axios, and an unsuccessful first attempt at the double bars downstairs for Axios.
See, Parker, we get the roam clear. Slaughterhouse wakes up just a little bit, just didn't have people in the proper positioning, finally used that utility. They get the pick upstairs onto Bazinga, who's really been thwarting everything that the offense has been trying to do. She's been a thorn in their side, finally pull that out, throw it to the side, and they get around on the board. We might be actually heading towards an equal split here, which would be very, very big for Slaughterhouse, especially with how things started off, where it was really only seeming that their rush takes were going to work out. We are going to have Monty with the 6th pick here, so no more Thermite, getting the Mountain in instead for Terra. So I'm really hoping we don't see the same take that we saw in Kitchen the last time, because there's no way that's going to work twice, especially with Legion on the board. That just gets all the more dangerous for Shield players. But I mean, no one really likes Shield players at the end of the day. Let's be honest. But the play ended up working out. I would just like to see them with that roam clear once again upstairs, Parker, because I feel like if they do get Bazinga off the board, this is all of a sudden going to be easier for them once again.
Oh, absolutely. You live and die off of the roam clear on Coastline. At least so far, that's the way the Slaughterhouse has been playing this. And when they are very good at being able to get in and get the opening kill, it seems to snowball in their direction, unless they run into a castle barricade or two along the way. And Axios has been decent at being able to hold map control. You know, Bazinga and Canadian have worked quite well. You sometimes have Lupa playing as well on the dock last time, holding down over by luggage, this time on the Legion, looking to hold over somewhere towards Penthouse. And that's okay. It's a kitchen defense. You can play in Penthouse and you can play in VIP quite reliably. Slaughterhouse have already begun their take over towards the service door, the delivery door here on Upside Down Rappel, same as before as Assault Queen, as the rest of the troops assemble. And once again, you're going to look at the main point of contact being this Montaigne in the hands of Terra. If she's able to walk in and just go for a plant yet again, you have to be ready if you're Axios. They were on their second kitchen defense, with the exception of a singular yokai. I don't know if they have much. There's Lupa, so here you go. Okay, you got something here, but Lupa's in trouble for the time being. Gunned down on Rappel by Assault Queen. Lupa will have to fall off, and this is your opportunity for Slaughterhouse to be able to go on in and try to plant.
Smoke's going down, but going to take a little bit of damage from behind. None of those Goon Mines of Lupa are going to stay alive, as she will falter as well. So it's going to be 2 early picks on the defense, and all of a sudden Slaughterhouse in the driver's seat. Canadian playing inside a bathroom, doesn't have a nitro cell in hand either. All they have is some good information gain here by the Evil Eye, as well as the Yokai rotating over into the corner. 1:30, so plenty of time still to be had here as drones now rotate in through kitchen. We're going to find the man playing in behind the stocking shells over in the corner, but it does seem a little bit stalled out. That's going to be a very close, actually, smoke bolt. Assume that was going to be a firebolt there for just a second, but now this is where the Evil Eyes get very dangerous. Terra can no longer plant. Their only best form of attack here is actually have her go full extension, drop that diffuser to someone else, and have them plant behind her.
Yeah, that was a comically mistimed firebolt there, and it's going to cost Slaughterhouse possibly the whole round. You know, it is a 5v3. It's obviously salvageable, but there's very limited opportunity for them to get this right. And you have plant denial in the Yokai, you have plant denial in the Evil Eye. So there's tools right now that we see from Axios that can work out quite effectively. You called it right though. Shield up, march on in, try and just simply outwork them. But this Yokai can drop the shield in a beat and get one zap off. That's what they're going to try to do. Not the best coverage, as there's some damage being taken. Very little HP for both Sky and Assault Queen. As Assault Queen comes in, down goes Canadian. It's a flank. This is a great opportunity right now for Slaughterhouse. Catching the Echo off guard. A beautiful shot. 3 on the board, but you've got the Maestro as well, sitting inside of the lobby. Diffuser going down from Sky, and there you have it. It's a flawless round this time from Slaughterhouse. They tie it up, and Coastline is going to be a 3-3 split through the very first set of defenses for Axios. Attack for Slaughterhouse, and they'll swap sides.
I guarantee those were some truly terrifying calls as Terra accidentally backed up over the Sophia and was no longer defending her as her health just continued to tick away. So that had to be some very hellish calls there for just a second as the Assault Queen was trying to get onto site. But even with the IQ, still fell victim to one of those goo mines. Luckily enough, though, no one within earshot to hear that go off, or no one paying attention due to being on cams, trying to prevent that plant. We are going to have a switching of sides now. So we are going to have Slaughterhouse on defense. We're going to have an operator that we haven't seen as of recent. We're going to have Pulse come out.
Pulse is a very interesting one on Hookah Billiards. A lot of teams will probably play him, down in, I would guess, probably the office.
They probably play him in kitchen, to be completely honest, because if you play closer to Sunrise or Blue Bar, that's a lot easier to execute that man out of.
Attackers need to locate and defuse.
It could be. I mean, Pulse can be played in a couple different ways here. You can keep a Pulse as well inside a pink, which is where Doc is playing right now. A lot of people aren't very familiar with that call, pink. It's the bar that is right now on like the center left of your screen. We're looking south now. It's easier when it's north aligned. but it's essentially where Doc is playing for the time
I've called
being.
that couches forever. I have called that
Couches. I've
forever,
heard it be called pink an awful lot. It can be couches too. I mean, it depends. There's a lot of variance when it comes to calls, especially regional calls. So
Oh, absolutely. I actually heard for Clubhouse, funny enough, for since we casted it so much last week, I've heard logistics office Parker get called German because of the German flag in it.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, it was the old C9 roster.
Moving out to locate a bomb and defuse
Oh,
it.
interesting. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, certain teams have different calls. That's a-okay. That was
Oh,
a
my sides there. I got very scared for that Valkyrie.
yeah, cheeky run out as well from Assault Queen caught on drone. And I like the utility that's being brought here from Axios. They've come with exactly what we were stressing Slaughterhouse should have been doing in the very first set of this map, was bring lots of soft destruction. You likely have frag grenades in Ancient One's hands. You got the smoke and the fire bolts in Lamp's hands. Bazinga's going to be running breaching. You got Lupa, who's going to have the breaching rounds instead of charges. And then you probably have a Claymore on Canasian, I want to say, but I'm not exactly sure. No, she's running breaching charges. So you have so much soft destruction here. The bigger ordeal that you're going to have if you're Axios is that Slaughterhouse are investing way more in an off-site presence than we saw from Axios most of the time. And if you can't find these info ops, both the Pulse and the Valkyrie, it doesn't really matter how much soft destruction you have, because Slaughterhouse just comes back to site and catches you in the process.
I do want to highlight one thing, and it's going to be Ancient One here. We've saw a little bit of trouble with drone plays so far throughout this matchup. Dokkaebi is a massive help in that department. Being able to use your drones just for sound cue is so nice. Launch that logic bomb, make it to where no one can possibly hear, and all of a sudden you got some kills on deck. Lupa going to rotate inside of Sunrise, Terror to fall. Also, we have a point lead here. Gunfire going back and forth inside of Blue as the Assault Queen's in some deep trouble now. Nitro still going to go up, but going to get rushed and knifed down.
Oh.
Instead, 6-inch blade never will lose this reception, as Thatcher once said, and definitely going to work out this time around. So I still really like these logic bombs being brought, even though we haven't seen any of them yet. A lot of teams will use this early on, get those drones preset, launch one logic bomb, and you already know half the map is clear, Parker. Very convenient utility.
This is going to be tough to be able to ascend these stairs, though. But there you go. You said very convenient. Here's your utility being used, but Sky right now is the immovable object, at least, or the unstoppable object right now. Unstoppable force means the immovable object. I can't words, you know, here, but that's okay. Pyra gets one, looks for a second. Okay, swing around, take Canasian down. Why don't you? Amidst the smoke, will you get discovered or not? A diffuser in the hands of Ancient One with Bazinga from behind. Easy to drop Pyra, and no opportunity for a stim pistol to get Pyra back up. Axios taking the very first round of their attack, and doing so even though they, survived a little bit of a scare there with the Doc menacingly at the end of that round.
So quick read of our chat real quick, Parker. We've actually unlocked 6, count them, 6 emotes for the CCS channel today. So thank you guys all for all the subscription you guys are putting in, everything. It truly means the world for you guys to support this. This is a massive deal. I mean, guys, if you guys didn't know this and haven't been following, Siege very deeply, the CCS Women's League was actually on an ESPN article, which is huge. That is a massive deal for Rainbow Six just in general. That's massive. I don't know how else to word that. I can't word stay either, Parker. I'm in the same boat.
I mean, massive was your crutch word there,
dude. It was
Samuel.
for a very long time.
He's gonna go massive.
Oh my god, you guys have no idea how often this man.
The Stokes special, young man.
Every single time I can say something 3 times within like 4 rounds, and Parker will literally text me and be like, "You need to stop using that word." Like, it's so good. It's so good.
Nonetheless.
Oh, dude, that one was bad. That one was hard to break. That was a very long time. Now I even feel bad when I use it once. Like I say it one time, I'm like, you need to stop doing that. Like,
very good.
I feel bad what I did to people's ears. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, absolutely. All right. Well, that last round in particular, like I said, there was a bit of a scare at the end that we saw from Axios, but overall, yeah, you can't really be too upset with the way that they played that. Their roam clear was really good. I don't honestly think Slaughterhouse was supporting their roamers as effectively as they wanted to, especially when you've got a Pulse and a Valkyrie. You should have been more aware, whether it was just, simply losing the fight. I'm not entirely sure, but the roam clear was really good here. Now, the roaming will go more effectively this time. Bailey inside of toilets takes one down. Goodbye Lupa, but spotted. And Bazinga was doing so much soft destruction work with the caliber-based destruction that we see. And goodbye Bailey. You even it out. So you refrag relatively quickly, but you don't gain all that much from eliminating Bailey. That's a much bigger loss for Axios with the IQ gone, especially with the Echo in play.
Yeah, obviously those ADSs staying up when Bailey places them. They don't just all of a sudden implode when she dies. So those are definitely going to still be there to steal away any throwable objects or launchable objects, what have you, all except for the arrows of the offense being ran by the Capitao, obviously, of Lamp. But they are still bringing the Dokkaebi, which again definitely helps out with that roam clear. Gonna have some info gain now as Lamp spots one of those bulletproof cameras. Kind of a pesky thing to deal with, especially placed properly. You can't shoot the front of it, but you can either punch it or shoot it from the sides. And especially with that one's placed, not going to be very, very easy to get rid of unless you do have that soft destruction. We are going to have a rotate of Assault Queen, actually. She's on the roam as IQ, something we don't see too often, but definitely can be effective. That MP5 SD actually has the highest damage margin of all of the MP5s in the game. And yes, that includes with the suppressor because you can't take it off.
Yeah, after they nerfed the MP5, I was actually kind of surprised. I mean, Echo could have used that, but hey, there you go. Once again, offsite presence from Slaughterhouse working out well. They've got a body up top too, and that's Pirate, a gun down Canadian after a run-in through the smoke is a bit ill-advised. Falls the Capitao as Lamp is gone as well, and it's all up to Ancient One. Very good on Echo on defense. Got the DMR in hand. We'll come face-to-face with the Echo of Slaughterhouse and get next to nothing for it. They both exchange words. They're a little bit worse for wear, and Ancient One will now rotate on over. But it's not exactly like you have very few people from Slaughterhouse to go up against. You've still got 3 other members of that team who are going to be off-site, or at least maybe maneuvered over by B. And down below is Terra, armed and ready with a C4 in hand. We'll have to shut off that phone as the final logic bomb goes off. Ancient One has smokes in hand, not frag grenades, so you can at least try and shroud yourself as you walk on into sight. Let the phones ring away, though, they say, at least for the time being. Down goes the Echo as Assault Queen has moved all the way over, and Ancient One is on in. SMG-12 is possible to get picked up. Going for 2 with the DMR, gets it down, but it's a goo mine in her foot. She'll trudge on, but no, it's time for Slaughterhouse, as you can't find all 4 of them. They decide to peek the Dokkaebi, and 3 of them go down, but there's 1 lady left standing. And that's all that matters when the clock hits 0.
People have asked me quite a lot, Parker, why I hate one particular operator, and it's Lesion. I don't like Lesion. I've never liked Lesion. I just think that as an operator, he's very, very easy to use, no matter if you're brand new to the game or a veteran at the game. He's just, his skill gap is non-existent in my eyes because of one simple thing. He gets a lot of utility. You constantly get it throughout the round, and especially in crunch time, which is that, sub 30-second time where you're just trying to get on site, you're trying to find bodies, whether it's a clutch, clutch position or what have you. There's always seems to be one goo mine just in the proper area to get stuck in your foot where you just go, oh my God, now I can't run, I can't do anything, and I'm gonna just continue to chug this damage because if I stop to do this animation, someone's going to peek me and I'm going to die. And it just makes it all the more dire of a situation. And that's exactly what happens for Ancient One at the very tail end of that round. I mean, honestly, what does this man not bring to the table, Parker? He's got a great SMG in the T95. He's got impact grenades, and he's got 8 goo mines that not only slow you, but force you into an animation, make it where you can't run, and deal damage, as well as info gain and whatever else. What doesn't he do?
That is super weird. I was under the impression that we were casting CCS. I didn't know that this was the things Stokes doesn't like about Rainbow Six podcast. That is...
No, dude, that's the beat.
Ty?
What do you mean?
Ty, is this... Am I in the wrong place? Am I here?
He just comes in and goes, leave me out of this.
I don't... Am I in the wrong... I am confused here. I will agree with you that Lesion is an annoying operator, but that's what he is supposed to be, Sam. He is supposed to be annoying.
Well,
and
I know why he got made.
I mean, there are counters to Lesion that you can
absolutely.
bring. There's an IQ, there's a Twitch, there's a Thatcher. There are a lot of counters that these attackers can bring, and Canadian is bringing a Thatcher. There's no IQ, there's no Twitch, okay. You can also drone them out if you really want to, but droning is not exactly the strong suit of Axios in this round, as Lupa wanders in aimlessly, finds herself down at the hands of the M4, in Jaeger's hands, rather, and well, that's all she wrote for the sledge. Unless Ancient One has somehow changed 2 frag grenades. There go your explosives. And I mean, yeah, granted, you're going to have your smokes in the hands of Dokkaebi. If they're not frag grenades, you've also got Lamp with smokes too. So there's a lot of pain that you can still inflict if you're Axios and the ability to cover that site fully.
Well, quick rotation in. Bazinga going to get a gunfight and remove the head of Bailey. Looks like decapitation was indeed on the menu. So as we are still tied up here, Sky still downstairs, and that's exactly what we do with leashing as we still wander back onto the same topic. But the longer you stay alive, the more effective that operator is. And when you have 8 goo mines down, very, very difficult to try and get into sight without taking some damage or being spotted out as to where you are. A massive sound comes out when you step on one of those things. It's just not a good situation. We are going to have Assault Queen on roam game once again as the Echo, which again, very unique thing. We don't see this happen very often because you're a 3-armor. You're extremely loud when you step around, especially when you're stepping on those wood floors. Tile floors, a lot more quiet, but we all know how loud those wood floors are when you sprint.
There's a lot of utility that's being used right now, still in the offsite presence, as Bazinga is endeavoring to try and figure out where Assault is playing at, creeping around, and it's a correct read from Assault watching the doorway. But if Assault gets caught exactly by Bazinga, great timing, then you're in trouble as Slaughterhouse. Plant attempting to go down for the time being, a fat finger from Sky as she just narrowly misses, but has all the information. Gets the drop on the Ancient One, and she's on an island for the time being in a 1v3. Lots of pings here. And she'll grab yet another. That's 2 for her, but Lamp is on deck. Sees the head of the Capitale for just a second, but Sky cannot connect. Pressured on in from Bazinga. You've got to get up and go for broke, but you can't get it. No, ma'am. It's Bazinga, who with all the work upstairs, did exactly what you said, Sam. Take just a couple seconds to get back down towards the site. How quick you can rotate in coastline, and Bazinga will be the savior of that round. Axios once again retaking the lead as these two teams are on a teeter-totter right now, a seesaw up and down, back and forth. And for now, at least it's Axios's.
Yeah, as we've said, Coastline is one of those maps that when you have 2 extremely equal teams, you just tend to teeter-totter back and forth. This map can go defender-sided, offender-sided. It's not like Clubhouse where it's so rare when you see like a 5-1 split on the offensive side or something like that. It's like, oh my God, that's insane. Defense is, king on Clubhouse. On this map, not the case. It can go truly any way because of the roam game potential on this map. And specifically the roam game potential that we've had so far from the women, of Axios was pretty good. Right now, the roam game, I'm not liking it too much from Slaughterhouse, just simply because of what they're doing with Echo. If Red Queen truly wants to go off site and try her hand at roaming, give her someone that's accustomed to that. Give her the Jaeger, give her the Vigil, give her something to be a thorn in the side of the offense. Not, hey, you have a great gun, but you're a 3-armor, you can't rotate that fast. And if plant starts to come down, you have to stop whatever you're doing and get on those yokai cams to try and stop anyone from trying to get the diffuser out.
Exactly. I mean, Intel really does win you this game. And when you've got an Echo on the board, which is now not being ran from Slaughterhouse, okay, you've got the Maestro cameras, you've got the Valkyrie cameras up. All right.
We got her on Jaeger, so I wasn't even paying attention to the operator lineup, but I guessed right. There we go.
I mean, you're going to put Assault Queen in a more frag-heavy role, and you're correct. She's been a really good player so far, and I think she's been the standout in terms of her role on Slaughterhouse. A lot of times the fraggers will get a greater spotlight because of what they bring, which is the flashiness, and just the sheer brutality that can come with being an entry operator. And in this case, Assault Queen is playing her role quite effectively, and the rest of the team is backing her up. I would like to see better drone work from Slaughterhouse, but for the time being, hey, it is what it is. I'm not exactly sure what Assault Queen is doing here, though, is it's Bazinga hot dropping rather, through the bathroom, and she guns down a drone, immediately re-engages while Bailey is called to assist. This is very cheeky and a correct way to play this, as you'll have heard the repel. No! Lupa looks away at the wrong time, and Bazinga now knows that there's somebody playing in towards Record Hall.
This all of a sudden came in very...
waiting.
Oh, I apologize, Parker. I apologize.
How dare you?
How dare I? How dare you? Salt Queen now though getting logic bomb, that phone call coming in, but it's quickly going to get dispatched, as well as Bazinga's head still has one to find though, as they assumed it was going to be an early pick onto the Jaeger of Assault Queen as they rotated one more in to try and help out on the take for theater, but quickly both of them fall as Bailey did rotate in through guitar. Now, though, plenty of utility on the defense. Not too much for the offense anymore, as I believe Ancient has used both of her logic bombs. So all of a sudden now she's just another woman with a gun and possibly 2 smoke grenades.
And not exactly the best kit either. The DMR's not that great for Ancient One, and I think it's the SMG-12 in hand, which has quite an unpredictable bout of recoil here. I don't know what Canadian was doing. You go for broke, okay, but Sky was waiting, perfectly prepared and on the Maestro camera with support from one of her teammates. A 5v2 with 50 seconds to go. Confront the castle barricade. Still 1 logic bomb left to use at any period of time with 2 smokes. Sky just needs to toss a Legion mine down at the doorway. There isn't one situated there, at least for the time being. The fire will spread and doesn't take a single tick off of the Maestro or the Legion. That's not the best place for Lamp. A bit unlucky there. Leaving just Ancient One up now as Lamp gets gunned down from the Alder. The Maestro playing behind the bar. 20 seconds and not bothering to get her teammate up, as it could once again be a flawless round, this time going back in favor of Slaughterhouse. They would be getting their second in a row. Just 2 rounds ago, we saw how effective Slaughterhouse could be. Ancient One guns down the window, looking on in, sees the head of the castle, takes it off, vaults in, but no, there's too many angles, and a great crossfire established by Slaughterhouse will once again put us 5v5. These teams cannot shake each other one bit, and given that they came in with Axios in 4th and Slaughterhouse in 6th, yeah, they're pretty close in the standings. You'd expect a close match between these 2 teams, and right now that's exactly what we're seeing.
She really went double or nothing there for that last play as well, just avoiding picking up her teammate, and it's like, I got this, don't worry about it. We're gonna try and handle this situation, but ends up going for not a very impactful frag, and then all of a sudden everything is all for naught. All of a sudden tied up now, though, as the defense of Slaughterhouse is starting to warm up. This roam game looks better and better every time we see it, especially with the switch off of Assault Queen from the Echo on the roam over to operators that are a little bit more suitable. I like the Mozzie pickup, especially here. When someone is not good at one particular thing in this game, information gain, what have you, then you continue to push that notion. They're going to make sure that they can't gain any information by stealing those drones. Hell, if they wanted to throw a mute in there as well, just for good measure, all of a sudden you have an offense that just has to lean on Ancient One with those logic bombs, and things get even more dire.
I mean, you're running a Capital. Ancient One could also switch to frag grenades. I think that could possibly be really effective here, especially with the way that this map plays. You know, there are very common default spots that the anchors will play in a variety of the sites here. Too many to list off right now. But if you play Coastline or you play at this level consistently, you know that there's likely going to be an anchor in a certain position on almost every single site. And you can just frag underneath them very effectively. You know, that's Buck's role, and I think that's a big part of why Axios banned the Buck in the first place, was to take that away from Slaughterhouse. All right, obviously Axios was not intending to play with the Buck. They came in knowing that the Buck ban was on the menu for them. But I mean, you can still do soft destruction from below. You've got Nash, you've got a Sophia, bring the frag grenades, why not?
I like the amount of soft destruction they're still bringing to the table. The Ash Zofia in tandem is something that we see quite often, because not only are they good soft destruction, Parker, but they're a lot of, you know, just hometown favorites for a lot of players. It's just their comfort pick. If you're comfortable with the R4C, you're comfortable with the R4C. And speaking of being comfortable, Assault Queen is doing exactly what her name is, but she's going to get taken down by Lupa as she rotates in now. Evil Eye doing plenty of damage, but not going to peak in time. But going to be plenty of time to get the diffuser down, though. And all of a sudden, Ancient One, no more logic bomb. She's trying to crawl out. Doc could possibly get this kill. She needs to find it. Yes. Going to make sure that none of those logic bombs can possibly be used. Defense in a dire moment now, though, as Pyra's continuing to tack on damage, but it's not going to be enough to be fatal just yet. We do have one player from underneath, but can't find the kill. It's going to be Kanation to capitalize. And all of a sudden, this timer's getting farther and farther down. Kanation and Lupa both very, very low HP. Lupa gets taken down. Kanation also might be down. No, 1 tick of HP. Lamp on the upside down rappel. This is such a power position, but it's going to get taken down from underneath by Bailey. Not enough time on the clock, though, and it's going to be Axios with match point.
Canadian knows this, and she doesn't need to bother doing anything at all. You can't get back that quickly, and you have to go for broke at that point that we saw from Slaughterhouse. They read it well, but they were just at the mercy of the clock. And it really comes down to how fast Axios was able to paralyze that site and get the diffuser down. A commendably quick job. And honestly, we've had a fair number of diffusers go down in this matchup, which for a map like Coastline is not exactly that common, especially with two teams that may not have the most experience on Coastline. So match point for Axios. I don't want to say they've looked like the better team, because even though they're ahead by one round and therefore theoretically they should be the better team, I think both these teams have been pretty even.
Oh,
All right. Well, we see
I
a
like
clash
it.
come in. I will stop my thought right there, and I will look at the fact that we see a clash being added to the mix, and that is something that can be really disruptive for the attackers.
Especially in tandem with that Legion, because not only now are you slowed, but now you have a woman with a shield in front of you that's shocking you to the slowest point that you can possibly walk. And it deals damage as well. It's a very large nuisance, but the issue is right now is that Assault Queen picked Clash in directly in to her two biggest counters, Zofia and Capital. If they want to dedicate both fire bolts to this Clash, she will die, because she's a very slow moving operator with that shield out. And with the bloom effects of the Capital bolts now, she takes, what would you say, Parker? Just around 75 HP every single time one of those tacks the front of her shield. It's a very, very dangerous point of contact for Clash, especially with the concussion mines of Zofia as well. This is not a good look for Assault Queen right now. So she might be able to delay some time if this is handled incorrectly by the offense, but she's more or less banking on that issue.
I mean, you're basically playing right now just to try and stall for as much time as possible. And if you really feel that Axios haven't been that great with their utility usage, then Clash is going to be an incredibly powerful operator. That's really just what it boils down to, right? Is you need to utilize that Zofia and the Capital effectively. That's it. Dokkaebi is going to be able to do work as well, don't get me wrong, but your main two are going to be Lamp and Bazinga. And if both of them are unable to do their job, be it because they get picked early, they get too aggressive, they lose sight of, the main goal, then Assault Queen is just going to be able to reign supreme. That's a tough prospect, really. Here's what I was talking about one of the default spots. That's usually where you're going to see the plant go off, and then a second is going to go off as well. This is a very common spot to play. Usually a smoke will play here. Smoke is obviously banned. You've got the dock playing, and Pyra will be able to see somebody down below if she just moves a tiny bit. That's all it takes. But no, I think that she's run out of luck here. Is just going to keep fishing but come up empty every time.
Yeah, Cool, Calm, and Collected doesn't fire a shot, which might have worked out for her really in the end. They're just going to assume that that area is empty. They looked up, really didn't see much, but Doc's just lying on top of the couch, so she's going to be perfectly safe. Assault Queen now getting aggressive downstairs. It might be the perfect play as Terra attacks on 2 to the kill speed. And all of a sudden, Terra in a power position has locked down Aquarium. That's 2 huge picks. No more EMPs to get rid of any of those Evil Eyes. And the large one, Lamp, going down with the Capital. So no more tactical crossbow bolts.
Just not going to be able to do too much here. Finally gets a stun to go off. Bailey eliminates Bazinga, and basically every opportunity you had to get rid of the Clash is now all but evaporated. Lupa down below as Axios will draw it back up almost as close to a tie as you're going to get. So you feed yourself to the machine, that's okay. The Maestro position phone call going off, and Ancient One will hear this. Know that there's somebody playing by the barn. Man, wouldn't frag grenades be super handy right now if you were Dokkaebi? We could have utilized that. There is an ADS situated in front of Terra, though, but if it's already been burned, then it's a free kill here. Lupa's in sight. She's got one looking for the Clash as well, but it's a Clash and a Maestro left alive. Very tough for Lupa. I don't know if this is a winnable situation for her at all, as the Clash will continuously slow the Ash down, and you have nowhere to go. Just watching as Lupa struggling, trying to find the Maestro, getting slowed, but no, Slaughterhouse is there, and down goes Lupa. Terra, a beautiful shot, and it's 6-6, Samuel.
It is indeed. A tip of the cap to Assault Queen, Parker. She had 2 people to worry about that could definitely thwart any plans that she had with that Clash, and actually ends up avoiding both of them. They both get picked off pretty early, and all of a sudden it's just free real estate for Clash. She can really walk anywhere, do whatever she wants. It's there's nothing much that she really has to do. Just keep the shield in front of you, shock anybody that walks your way, give the call out, and move on about your day. The 1v2 positioning there for Lupa, very, very nice the way that she rotated up through the hookah balcony in order to gain some pressure onto the site, but was all for naught as Ancient One just threw herself to the wolves inside of Aquarium. She knew that the Maestro was there, but just assumed that it was going to be played wrong by Terra, who definitely did not do anything of the sort. When it came down to 1v2 though, especially with a Clash and a Maestro, it's very difficult to win because of what Clash does to your movement, as we talked about earlier. It slows you down to the slowest point that you can possibly walk. And then all you have to do is have Maestro peek out, quick kill with the buzzsaw that is the Alda, and a very nice day, and I'll take that round.
Oh. That Clash worked very, very effectively. So what do? Bring it back again. Why not? There was zero answer that we saw from Axios, and that possibly, without the Clash change, that could have been the round for Axios, and that possibly could have been the match as well. Now you put yourself in a position where both teams go 3-3 through their splits. There is no clear better side when it comes to attack and defense, so you pick your own poison here. You know, if you're Slaughterhouse, you have to defend twice. That is a spaghetti monster of barbed wire. Oh my.
That is,
this is
T-Hunt Barb. This is T-Hunt Barb. That is a absurd amount of barbed wire on cool vibes. But I mean, you don't really have to worry about making any noise because you're Clash. The only people that can deal with you are Bazinga and Lamp. That's legitimately it. So with that being said, unless they finally rotate someone to Cool Vibe from down low to handle her, I don't really see this being a massive issue for Queen. I'll say the main thing right now, the difference between these two teams is Axios is actually very, very good on offense with their roam clear between Bazinga and Lupa. The main thing right now, though, that's been a standout thing for me about these two teams is on their offense, they really don't ask for help. They don't make that key margin of, okay, Clash is on this staircase, we need help. Can we have Bazinga rotate in or Lamp rotate in with their utility in order to get this shield down? We can handle that situation, then move on to what's next on our checklist.
A map like Coastline, there aren't that many things to check off in the box either. I mean, like I've said this a couple times, it really comes down to being frag heavy, and you know, you don't really have the greatest amount of utility that needs to be used here. Slaughterhouse has been running more utility than we've seen from Axios on defense. Plant going down, and what do? You push on up as quickly as you can. Oh my! Assault Queen puts the shield on her back and goes on in, but she gets thwarted, and everybody's guns come alive. And the winner for the time being is Axios, surviving that push in a 3v2. Lupa now watching keenly onto the rotate hold. Diffuser goes down successfully. Bailey pushes on up, but into a hail of gunfire. She's gone as well. It's an evil eye cam up of Terra, but she's down below. This is not a great situation to be in if you're Slaughterhouse. Try and watch as best as you can. There will be marks for you as there's some intels from those evil eye cams up. Lamp is downed. Lupa is weak. But Lupa will be watching the stairs, and the immense amount of noise that'll be made from Maestro swimming through that sea of barbed wire and the huge barrel of the Alda will not do her well. It's Lupa to get the very final kill, and Axios goes to match point.
Fantastic Ashe play coming out from Lupa. Getting aggressive at the proper time is a key with that operator. Just because she's fast doesn't mean she can't be shot, and especially with the rotate off from the Clash of Queen onto site to try and prevent that plant. It was the perfect time to get your assault going on Cool Vibes. And that's exactly what happened. A quick rush up by Lupa finds her 3 separate kills. And now they have the upper hand in overtime, moving over to the defense, which, as we've seen so far, has been a lot more dominant. We saw Axios do a lot better on the offense as compared to Slaughterhouse. So all of a sudden, this gets a lot easier for them winning that offensive side. Whereas we did see that split. They're going back to Hookah Lounge, which we saw their style of play on this defensive side is a little bit more roam heavy than what we saw from the likes of Slaughterhouse. So we'll have to see what they can possibly bring to the table. But I'm going to assume that it's going to be more of the same, a little bit closer setup. We are going to have a very interesting deployable shield here that's going to get placed on top of a reinforced hatch over inside of Aquarium, which I believe we've seen this before a handful of times.
I mean, I honestly can't remember casting it.
I'm
I think
trying to
it's
think. I think I've seen Fabian do this 1 or 2 times inside of Aquarium, but not with the reinforced hatch. I've seen him play a deployable shield in here, but not to the
Right.
likes of this.
I mean, you have to reinforce the hatch because the rest of the floor is completely soft. Nobody's going to use hard destruction on that. If you look at the hard destructive lineup that comes in Slaughterhouse, it's a thermite. So you don't have to worry about a Hibana below, and obviously a Maverick isn't going to be very effective there either since it's above you. Yeah, I mean, it's a smart place for Ancient One to be. It's very similar to where Ancient One was playing before when we had the castle set up in round number 1 all the way back at the start of this matchup. But for the time being, I mean, damn, I mean, it's a pretty decent spot to be in. You've got good coverage. You can get droned out very effectively. And I mean, you've got a Zofia on the board. You got a Capitao. It might be tough for the Echo. It really depends if there's somebody playing at the bar as well inside of Aqua, which I don't think there is. I think Maestro's in pink, if I remember correctly. So, yeah,
It seems that way from silhouettes. Yes. Yep.
Yeah, from silhouettes, it certainly looks that way. Yeah, he is. He's in pink. Well,
I would
she,
say-
Maestro's a he.
Yeah. I would have to say that the main thing for me right now is that setup would be very good for a utility burn. Just try and get out as much utility from them as possible and bleed them dry. But with a proper EMP from Pyra, all of a sudden it's just a easy frag grenade over. Granted, they don't have any frag grenades, and just kill the person behind the shield. But I don't think we're going to see that from this roster at all. I mean, the only thing that could possibly be extremely dangerous for Ancient One sitting in that corner is going to be Bailey with those Capitao balls.
Still haven't really done much to find the roaming presence either of Axios right now. And there have been a couple rounds where we've seen Axios thrive because Bazinga, because Lupa haven't been spotted. And you have to be very careful whenever you've got the control that Axios has on the other side of the map for 2 reasons. Number 1, Coastline, as we said many times, is a map where you can get back to site pretty quickly. And number 2, you need to have good map control when you're pulling off a lot of these plants. And we've seen so many plants so far from both of these teams. The issue is that if it goes quickly, both Bazinga and Lupa might be in a position where they're not going to be effective because they're too far off site. That'll be a tough prospect to come across.
Yeah, as the timer gets lower and lower, and Parker, we're entering very dangerous territory. Only 40 seconds, and finally the first bits of damage come out. Canadian with the first call sign here, as Terra will go down, as well as Lamp currently crawling along the floor, bleeding out. They're going to need her to try and prevent anything. They do still have the Yokai's up from Ancient One. She is still over in Aquarium. A quick rush up Cool Vibes, but it's going to be a double back now as IQ does get knocked down. Canadian, quite a bit of damage for her leisure, but definitely going to trade out pretty equally here. Skies with a quick rotation as well. Has that LMG, plenty of bullets in that magazine, does not need to reload, can just shoot through these walls all day, but it's going to be a triple nitro self from Lupa. Oh my God, what is that?
That's called not droning below the site. And Lupa was playing Bandit. It's not even like there was intel outside of a Maestro cam or
No
a
cardiac
Yokai.
sensor, nothing.
It's not a Pulse or a Valkyrie playing down below. It's calls that are coming out on possible default spots. Lupa steals the show, pads her stats with those 3 kills at the very end.